Yay, we're back. We're back. 2 days in a row. Doesn't happen often. This is Ayesha, yes. Youngspapercreations, owner of Try Paper Play. You can also find me on Etsy. I've got a store there, lots of journals for you to choose from. Go on, share, tell everybody else. I'm trying to get my journals out to as many people as possible who would like to start journaling and finding out more about, the importance of journaling. The Bible tells us to write our visions and make it plain. And you know what? It might take a while, like he said, but it will come to pass. And you have to take God at his word. But I'm trying to get these journals out to all the ladies, especially in the churches, in the GTA area and beyond, because I do Etsy as well. So if you happen to know someone, a bunch of ladies, and we know the churches are full of ladies, and you're listening to this, if you're one of my friends on Facebook or not, you need to share this. And so if I see that you're there, I know that you're going to share it. And I thank you in advance in Jesus' name. Now, I always tell people that we can use up all of our paper scraps. So which I love to do, I am also doing a scholarship for young people so that they can find out more about paper play and trying paper play. And do you know what? Lots of parents cannot afford that extra money to go out and buy crafting supplies when there's bills to be paid, groceries to be bought and all that stuff. And so I've got an abundance of papers and paper scraps. So someone is pulling something outside at a time that is not good. So yes, I've got lots of papers and paper scraps. And so when I, put together a set of paper packs for individuals, especially young people, which is what my scholarship is about. Ask me more about it, and you will find out. I also have it shared on Facebook if you scroll down in my information feed. But I'm doing a scholarship for young people who would love to craft a little bit more. And my donating crafty items, it's not even dependent on your getting A's and B's or whatnot, because indirectly it will feed into your creativity and you will blossom. I didn't want to do it where it was grade wise because not everyone happens to fall into learning easily. But do you know, research rather tells us that many times the A students end up working for the C and the B plus and C students. So take that. Um, so yes, with all of that being said, I thought, let me come on and show you one of the ways in which I go to using up my paper scraps when I'm not sharing. And I try to share as often as I can. So if you're out there and you want to get some crafty, scrappy papers to do your craft, you know where to find me. The information is below. Um, so what I do is what you saw me doing here. I am taking my larger pieces of scrappy papers, tearing them down into manageable size. Woo, blooper, into a manageable size or manageable sizes. Then I go for something that is attractive to my eyes, something that I can say, huh, I like that, and this is called clusters, y'all. This is called clusters. So as you see here, I've been making a bunch of them and the colors all vary. But to my eyes, I like what I see, the blending. So this is what I've been doing now. So that's what I do with all of these pieces of papers. And so we tear them down into manageable sizes once they're scrappy. Now I'm going to remove it for now because we're going to go on to the next stage. And I will show you what I do from there. I guess I didn't need all of this just to get my point across, but these are what I'm working with. And so in the midst of my working, I thought, you know what? Let me show my friends and customers what it is that I do in order to create beautiful clusters for the journals. So now I've got all of these lovely scrappy clusters sitting. I'm going to select a few of them to use the next step. What's the next step, Ayesha? Well, the next step over here, as you can see, this is where I keep my brads. I cannot craft. This is one of the items in which I cannot craft without. These are a must. And I am fortunate that I seek out used and gently used crafty items. And so oftentimes, you know, when I'm fortunate, I'm lucky to come across stashes of brads. So I save quite a bit of money because I get them on large discounts. Now I'm gonna take this piece of scrappy. So yes, when you're crafting, depending on what you do, and with what I do with all of my lovely journals, I end up with scrappy papers and fabrics. And so now what I do with this is just fold it up in a roughed ruffle so it looks pretty to my eyes. I put a hole by using an owl or whatever it is that you have, but you basically want to use a hole. Now, one of the things that I found with this is that sometimes the holes will come back together after. So I want to make sure that I scout out the brad that I'm going to use, preferably something close to the color on my fabric. And now I'm going to put the brad right through, secure it into place, and voila, this is what I have. Now I will do another one and show you. So here's another piece of fabric. I'm going to create the ruffle in such a way where I'm able to build on my layer, and for the most part I just want to do 2 pieces because the thicker it is, the bulkier it will be for the journal, and we don't want too bulky a journal. It's bulky enough as it is, right? So I want to make sure I have my hole, and I'm going to capture it as fast as I can. And I've got it. I want to, want to secure, almost poke myself, want to secure that into place. I like it. So now I've given you 2 examples, right? Now, the next step for this is where I want to get my glue. Now, there's a few ways in which you can do this. You can take your fabric. This is a lovely brown piece, actually. You can take your fabric like so. Maybe I will just, that's a chunky piece of fabric, so I'm just going to fold it once because of the chunkiness and just cut off this piece. The chunkier it is, you might want to consider only doing 1 fold instead of 2. And now I'm going to run this through my machine to show you one way of doing this. So I'm going to be off camera just for a second. And I am back. So here we go. So that was fun. All right. So now look at this. I don't know about you, but I love it. So yes, you can sew on your piece of fabric right on to the paper. That's one way of doing it. The other way that you can do it is to pierce. Let me show you. The other way in which you can do it is to do your fold and now pierce the fabric right through to the paper, which might be, depending on what you're doing, it could be the easiest way. I do this quite often. It eliminates another step. So this is secure, and voila. So we've got two varied versions, and here is the last version. The last one is where I have my cluster, I have my fabric that I've already ruffled, secured with the brad. Now I could glue this on using my 3-in-1, or which is what I'm using, or you can use a fiber tack. So I am gonna make sure I have enough glue on my fabric and then secure it into place. Just gonna put a little bit of extra. So again, this is all up to you. Do you want to sew it on? You can do that. Do you want to just secure it with a brad? I tend to do this a lot. It's easy. Or you can do it where you get your fabric down, you get your cluster together, and you just glue it on, and you're ready to go. Kind of like it this way. So I'm gonna use the fabric for this one and secure it. So you see there's more than one ways of getting this done, but it ends up looking so beautiful, right? So these are the ones that we've created, and I don't know about you, but I love them. This is what they look like. These lovely clusters. Now, how do we use them? Well, let me show you. So in this journal, I did this one here already. This is using a piece of a sari, the edge of it. I love it. So I'm just gonna decorate that by attaching this. And when you do it, depending on how you do it, it could become a tuck spot. So you can glue it in such a way that you can benefit from having it as a tuck spot. And look how beautiful that is. Now I have another one right here. And this one I attached right onto the cluster. I attached the fabric right onto the cluster. I'm going to secure this one into it as well. Like so. And then we want to go to another one I will show you. And that's over here. And we're going to attach this bad boy right to the corner. And I'm doing it in such a way, I'm securing it in such a way wherein a piece of it is being exposed to the far edge without staying on the paper, and then just setting it up in such a way that I'm gluing it in such a way that eventually, if I have a tiny piece of something, it will be easy for me to just tuck it in there and it will stay. It depends on how we glue our cluster onto our paper. What do you think about that? So this is a great way. Now this journal, this is one of the journals within the last video below. It is available. You can make and provide this lovely journal with a home. They're great for gifts. Remember, journaling, writing your vision, making it plain. Call those things that be not as though they are, and eventually you will be there. So you got to see how I use these lovely clusters. So again, here are some that I just put together. The brad is on there. The brad is on there. The brad is on there. All that's needed once you finish that stage is just getting your cluster together and attaching it. Right? So, oh, I like this. I like that. This is good too. Oh, man. But I sang when I did the other one. What does that mean? I don't know. I like them all. So, guys, this is what I do. Now, these are so nice and easy to create. I know that you can do this as well. If you are a crafty friend, you already have access to, these supplies. Most of them you should have, so that you can do this. And remember, if you don't have a brad to attach everything together, you can also sew it on. Okay? I just happen to have a machine, so I was able to do that. Or you can just glue it on, or you can do it with your brad where you poke everything right through and you eliminate need of the glue. So I want to thank you. I do hope you enjoy seeing what I've done. Let me put them all on there so you can see. Is this not beautiful? So gorgeous. To me, it's almost like the snippets that people do, the snippet rolls, except I individualize them. So I don't know, what do we call these? Cluster snippets? I don't know. Shortcut to snippet rolls? They're just beautiful. This is how I use up my scraps. And scraps are just pieces of off-cut papers that you can just tear down and have fun just sitting there and looking to see what goes well to your eyes. What might look pretty to you might not look so pretty to somebody else. But again, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, and you will be the one beholding. So I need you to just go ahead and craft away. And the more scraps you come into, is the more opportunity you will have to have new and fresh supplies. One of the tricks of the trade I've learned is that because if you go on YouTube, you'll find a whole lot of different ideas. But one of the tricks is to just set up your papers in such a way where when it's layered, you can catch a glimpse of the other pieces. And that brings out what it is that you need to have seen. Okay? Now, some people have tamer, more muted paper pieces. Some people have more bright papers. So every set of clusters will not resemble one another, but nevertheless, they are clusters and you can do it. I know you can. All right. So thank you very much, guys. Peace. Make sure you share this video you like. Go on to my Etsy. And if you happen to know of any young ladies and such who I can connect with for the SDA churches so they can take these journals that I make to them, that would be a blessing to them, I know. If you wish to buy these snippets clusters because you don't have access to them or you just want it for whatever, you have all my information below. I want to thank you so much for your patience and being a part of this lovely make. Take care. Bye bye.